Welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. And before we get to our guest today, we have a big shout out for Living Sisu. Living Sisu is a platform and app that wants to give you all the tools to have success in your sport. Their main objective is to activate your lifestyle. It's for active people. Enjoy discounts at companies like BioSteel, 30% off, Body Logics, the Goalie Guild. All his books are discounted. Roan, Lululemon for men, 20% off. Online stretching programs with Eccentrics, 1 full month free. They got super silent massage guns, 20% off those. And it's a great quality. It's way less expensive than a Theragun, and it's great quality. So there's so many more discounts that you guys will need to just become a member to see. So they want to provide you with anything you need for success. So come join the community. I'm a part of it. A bunch of other athletes are a part of it. So it's free to join. It takes 20 seconds to get exclusive offers to your sport, and it's definitely worth it. So do us a huge favor and go sign up for Living Sisu's membership. It's free, takes 20 seconds. So go do it, and we'll see you there. Living Sisu is a great company. We know one of the co-founders, Zach Fricali. He's a great guy. He's the co-founder. He does a lot of live streams on Instagram at Living Sisu, with a bunch of elite athletes, and you learn a lot from like the athletes' determination, their resiliency, everything to what made them become successful. So it's been a great experience so far. So go on. I'm gonna leave the link in the description. So go sign up.
Welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. I'm Jack, and today's episode we are joined by a very special guest, current professional hockey player Gino Mini. Gino is currently playing in the Federal Prospects Hockey League with the Port Huron Prowlers. This is Gino's fourth year in the FPHL. While before turning pro, he spent time in the GOJHL and then played 3 years of ACHA College hockey at Oakland University. So it's going to be a good episode, Gino. So I'm excited to get you on. Shout out to Dunner for helping me help us setting this up. But welcome to the show, Gino Mini.
Yeah, Jack, thanks for having me, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, no problem. It's gonna be a good episode. I love doing these types of stuff with professional players, just to see like their story and everything. So like, but to start things off, like how have you been? Like I know you're in Port Huron right now, so like how's everything there?
It's good. I'm coming on my last year of pro hockey here, so it's nice to be able to, finish close to home. There was a stretch there where my parents didn't get to watch for a long time. I'm playing in other states, and it's nice they can come down Friday, Saturdays, and get to watch their oldest play one more year. So it's good. I've enjoyed my time a lot in Port Huron.
Yeah, and like congrats on your last year of playing pro. Like
Thanks, man.
finish it out strong and
Yeah,
hopefully go win
hopefully.
a championship.
Hopefully, I would love some hardware, man. That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. But you grew up in Richmond, Michigan, so like how far away is that from Port Huron?
Yeah, it's about 30 minutes, 25, 30 minutes. I lived here since I was 3 years old, so the last 24 years of my life. Went to Richmond Elementary, middle, and high school, and yeah, so I'm familiar with the area. I played at Glacier Point growing up. For people that don't know, it's a smaller city rink outside of Port Huron, and always did Silver Sticks and whatnot. So it's a little special to be close to home for my final season. So I'm I've been very grateful for that. So
Yeah, absolutely. So like what was it like growing up in Richmond? Like you said you went to Silver Sticks, did everything in there. It's like what was youth hockey growing up all the way up until like junior hockey when you started that quest to professional hockey in that ranks?
yeah, absolutely. Richmond's very small farm town. For anybody who's drove through it, you're not missing much. Um, I would say I was one of five hockey players, if that, when I went to Richmond. Two of them being my brothers, and the other two being my neighbors. And it was I was always the outcast. I didn't play like
Yeah.
baseball, football, basketball, stuff like that. So it was always pretty hockey driven, and I played youth hockey in the Port Huron area, Mount Clemens area, anything close to where we're at. From there, I played for a team called Peter Klima Warriors. For those who don't know who Peter Klima is, he was a former NHL player, played for the Wings for a long time. He put together a Czech Republic team, actually. His two sons, they still play. One plays in the top league in Czech, and one plays in the AHL right now. And I played for him, and then I moved on to Sarnia Sting AAA over in Canada. We had a battle with the Canadian government quite a bit. We got some we knew some people, and they told us to try it out. And Canada is not like the US. It's very strict about where players are from and where they can play. You're only allowed 2 import cards on a AAA or junior team, and you have to play in the city that you're from. So if you're from Sarnia, you have to play for Sarnia Sting. If you're from London, you got to play for London Junior Knights, and so on and so forth. So we had to battle with the Canadian government and prove to them that Sarnia was actually closer to us than let's say Taylor or Hazel Park, where Honey Baked play. I was playing for Honey Baked at the time, and yeah, so I went on over there, and I had a good showing, and from there I Dale Hunter from London Knights, he met with my parents at a practice, and I got an invite to London Knights training camp in 2014, and signed a tender with them. It was, very special. I mean, obviously everybody knows what London Knights is. It's a world-renowned organization, and with the training camp, I was definitely not ready. I was 17, 18 years old, straight out of high school, super skinny kid. I remember, I thought I had a pretty good training camp. I remember leaning forward, and I went in for an exit interview after the camp, and Dale Hunter, he's sitting there like out of a movie. He's, flipping through papers. He didn't even acknowledge me for, I'd say, probably 3-4 minutes. And then finally he looks up and he goes, how do you think you did? And in my head, I'm like, I thought it did pretty good. I had a goal, I had a fight, I had this, that, and he leans forward and he goes, how are you going to play in this league if you only bench 155 2 times, right? Because we had all this off ice testing. So I go, holy shit. And then he goes, we'll keep an eye on you. We'll make some phone calls. So from there, they sent me to Lambton Predators in the Gulch, where I played the next 2 years, and I tried to hit the gym after that. That was definitely a wake up call for me if you want to play at that level. So yeah, that's the youth to junior story for sure.
Oh yeah, lots of learning experience and wake up calls from that trip to London Knights to their training camps. Like, what
Yeah.
was that, like, the biggest thing you picked up was that you got to get in the gym and just start lifting heavy if you want to play at that level?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, now I'm a, pretty built guy, but back then I was, super skinny, way skinnier for my size. And guys like Max Domi, Bo Hovart was the captain of my training camp team, Mitch Marner, those guys, well, not so much Marner, but those guys, they were built, they were strong, they their shuttle runs were fast, they could do a shit ton of pull-ups, they were repping out. So, and all the D-man there were big. So I figured if I want to play at this level or anywhere remotely close, I gotta get big and find my niche, and so definitely a wake up call, definitely a learning experience. My roommate was actually Oli Mata at the time with my billet family, so he gave me a lot of tips and pointers. I mean, he was playing for Pittsburgh, and playing on the Finnish World Junior team, so he another big strong European guy. So yeah, definitely learned a lot from those guys.
Yeah, it's not a bad player to learn a lot from, especially when he was up with the Penguins and he's on the Finnish team over there. So like
Yeah.
that's a great role model to go after.
Yeah, absolutely. He was a great guy, man. I at the time, I remember my youngest brother, he was super young. He might have been maybe 11, 12 years old, around that area. And Pittsburgh was always his favorite team. And I remember, I'm sure these guys hear this stuff all the time, and I always felt bad. asking, but I remember just saying, man, like, if there's something you could do or say to him or whatnot, I mean the world to him. And he went down, he grabbed his playoff towel from Pittsburgh that year. He gave a little signature and he tossed it to my brother. So that was always pretty cool. But yeah, it's a good thing to learn from the pros for sure, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Now that you are in the pros and this is your fourth year, like, is that like the biggest things you've told like the younger guys is to get in the weight room, like off ice training is important. And like what are some of the biggest things you've taught like the younger guys coming into their first or second year pro?
Yeah, I think it's a big jump whenever you make that leap, from AAA to juniors to major juniors or college to pro. Every year that I made that jump, it was always a wake up call, and everybody's better, and as you get higher up, that pyramid gets more and more narrow, right? That's
Yeah.
why there's not as many pros, and um, my out of college, I left my junior year to go play for Huntsville. I got a invite to their training camp, and again, another wake up call is everybody was big in my size, and I think the gym's important. You don't need to be like a bodybuilder, but you need to
Yeah.
be explosively strong. I coach a high school team. I harp on these kids a lot. I think it's not so much your upper body, but your legs, right? And your balance is important, how well you can defend the puck, use your body as a defense mechanism. But the biggest things for sure that I tell the youngest guys or anybody listening is your compete level for sure. Whether it's practice, games, I mean, you got to battle every shift, and your edge and consistency. I think me and my old man were talking about this the other day. You see a player play a great game, right? And then maybe he's off the next 3 or 4 games, right? And it shows that that player has the ability to be great, right? Because he showed you it. But the hard part is the consistency, right? And I think that that's true for all of sports. It's hard to be consistently that good. That's why those great players, Nick Lindstrom, Crosby, guy's been in the league 20 years, consistently good. I think that's the hardest part about sports. So finding that edge, competing, right? Taking the off ice stuff seriously, staying away from, you can party a little bit as a hockey player.
Yeah.
It's an embedded in our culture, right? But if you're
Yeah.
truly serious about it, you would avoid 95% of that stuff. Get in the weight room, right? Eating clean and just trying to be as consistent as possible. So that's the advice I would give to the young guys.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great lesson, great advice. Because like even like I've especially this year, like you just gotta that I've been learning is like consistency is huge. Like you just gotta make sure your body feels great or feels good every single practice, every single game. You just gotta find those ways to help like everything like come into like one spot where you're able to produce and be consistent day in day out.
Yeah, absolutely. I in college I was like most college guys that come to the Fed or the SP or the Coast, at some point on your college team when you're a junior or senior, you're probably the go-to guy, right? And
Yeah.
I was one of them with a couple other buddies of mine. I was power play, penalty kill, overtime, shootout, whatever the scenario, right? And then when I got to Huntsville, I realized how much better everybody is there, right? That I don't need to do that stuff,
Yeah.
right? So I had to find my niche quick, and it was I realized that where I'm gonna excel at and where teams are gonna take a look at me is playing big and strong, right? Fighting if I have to, getting shots through, and moving the puck up quick, right? There's no need for me anymore in my career to skate the puck up and try to go
Yeah.
end, right? I just need to move it quickly on a guy's tape, and that's why the forwards that are there at that level, they'll get the points, right? So I don't need to worry about that as much. So yeah, for sure, man. It's been an interesting experience so far.
Yeah, you just gotta find your role. And like my goalie coach and I have like talks like this all the time. Like you think you've seen good, and then you go up another level, and it's a completely different. It's a completely different
Absolutely.
new good. And like
Yep.
as every level you go up, like it's just gonna get better and better, and you're gonna see more and more good players each and every time you step up.
Yep. Absolutely, man. Like I said, that pyramid gets more and more narrow. It's pretty bizarre, right? And we're talking, single A hockey here, right? And
Yeah.
some of these guys, and I've played with, great players like I said, Bo Holvart, Mitch Marner, and some of these guys, single A, double A, are some of the best players I've ever seen, right? That just goes
Yeah.
to show how fucking hard it is to get to that top tier level, so
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's so much fun to see, and so it's very cool to see. Like as you like, even from like the bottom levels, like there's still extremely good players, like you said, that
yeah.
are maybe even better than some guys that are playing double A, triple A, or whatever league that is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our goalie right now, Wyatt Hofflin, he was at the year Vegas became an expansion team. He was at Vegas Golden Knights training camp, right? And now he's in single A. He's got the ability to go up to whatever level he wants to. But yeah, it's there's good players, man. You get a wide variety in the Fed for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But you talked about like when you're going up in the youth hockey, like you went up to Canada to play AAA. So like, what was that lifestyle change like, especially since you're going from Michigan and in the U.S. to Canada, and like Canada's a whole Canadian hockey is a whole different sport.
Yeah, absolutely. God, I feel like we, as when I was playing in the US, if I was going to, if I was playing a spring for Honey Baked or Bell Tire or whatever, and I just felt everything was so skill focused. I mean,
Yeah,
you take a look at like college hockey, like NCAA Division One compared to, major juniors. I think there's a lot more skill, a lot more finesse, and Canada has that ability too. I mean, obviously, there's great players there, but I think they played a little more of a hard nosed game in youth hockey, right? A little more dump and chase, finish your checks, move the puck up quick, right? Crash the
yeah,
net, that old school style of hockey for sure. And as those kids get older and better, it's just they're the complete package when they play, right? They have
yeah,
every aspect of the game where I feel, the US is, like I said, a little more skills focused. I think coaching a lot, I see that now, it's practices more skill focused and edge focused and whatnot. And maybe we're straying away from some of the fundamentals, but yeah, that's definitely a big change for me for sure.
yeah. Absolutely. Did you end up having a billet in Canada?
No, I was fortunate enough where, Sarnia 35, 40 minutes from my house, and where I play juniors only, an hour more. So
Yeah,
I had good buddies there, lived in Sarnia. I'd go hang out at their houses, 2, 3 days. So if you want to consider that a billet, yeah, I guess so. But I was still able to be home 3, 4 days of the week. So it was nice. Same with school, in college I played close to home and able to stay home, and now I'm back at home playing pro too. So I'm sure the parents have loved and enjoyed that. But
yeah. But you're living at home, and like you're just at a place where you're familiar with, and like when you're playing at a place where you're familiar with, and then playing hockey where you're wanted and like you're getting time, like there's nothing better than that.
yeah, absolutely. All the guys on the team now, they say how jealous they are. I get to sleep in my own bed if if I want to go work or do something or go to school, right? I still have classes right now, and I could do all that, go to practice in the morning still, and then come home to mom's cooking. So
Oh yeah, no,
that's
nothing better.
yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah, but then you went into the GOJHL with the Landman Shores Predators. Like, what was the process like to sign in the Goj for juniors?
Yeah, I remember after London, we waited a little bit and waited for the phone to ring, and finally it did. And we were told to go to this Lantern Predators team. And my folks never played hockey, but they didn't know a thing about it, and I didn't even really either. I always loved the game, but I was never the guy that like I didn't watch like the NHL, or
Yeah,
I didn't even know what we didn't even know what OHL teams were, right? So not to sidetrack, but funny story that when Dale Hunter first came to my parents, when they were saying what team they're from, my mom didn't know, so she thought it was a junior C team. Um, not to knock on them, but my dad's laughing, go thinking, holy shit, this is one of the best junior organizations in the world. But um, anyways, when I went to Lambton, it was weird. It was weird to wear a visor for the first time, to not wear a cage. I remember being super scared about my teeth the first, 15 games. But when I got there, I wasn't, again, I was, 17, 18-year-old skinny kid. And, the Goj is a very good league too, right? Still
Yeah.
produces, Division I commits, moves guys on to the O all the time. So I wasn't like, established or had a spot yet. I was like an eighth defenseman, and I didn't play much. I think I got there maybe 4 games into the season, after London's camp, and I didn't play. I think I was scratched maybe 3 or 4 games. And then when I did play, I got, 2, 3 shifts. So that was a culture shift for sure, to go from where you kind of play on the regular, right? You might have your bad game in AAA or when you're playing youth hockey and you get benched for a shift or two, but nothing like that, right? I hadn't sat on a bench before, and for 45 minutes of a game and get 2, 3 shifts. And so I remember I talked to the coach, Don, and I just told him, look, I can't show you what I can do if you don't give me the chance. And I went out there, and he said, all right. And I went out there, I had a good game, and they started putting me in the lineup on a regular rotation. But it was weird to be a part of, to be able to fight a guy for once, right? I remember thinking that was crazy, because you're always pushing and shoving in AAA, or
Yeah, but
things can get
no
heated.
dropping the gloves or anything
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. So I remember it wasn't very long when I got in my first Tilly, and I got an older guy put a pretty good beat down on me, but I got better as I went on. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was also my first experience in playing in front of crowds too. I mean, typically youth hockey, AAA, right? Unless you're a high school player, they get some decent crowds. But
Yeah.
we were always just playing in front of the same 20 parents that would come to the games. And Sarnia, Chatham, Kent, Leamington, right? These teams, London Nationals, they get some pretty good crowds, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, right? So that was pretty bizarre for me too. I remember being nervous as hell my first game in Sarnia against the Legionnaires. And um, you know, but like you said, it's just like anything else. You get used to it, you move on, right? And the crowds get bigger and bigger as every level you go up. So definitely learned a lot, and that helped kind of level my head out, and build a little confidence and whatnot. So
Yeah, a lot of great experiences that first year of juniors, and like it's hard to get used to something when you go up a level from like AAA into juniors and the Goj. Like what was that transition period like from, and like how long did it take you to get used to the game?
yeah, it was like I said earlier, it's a big jump when you go from any level,
Yeah,
AAA to juniors, college, pro, whatever. The speed for sure. I thought I lacked in that department, right? You're used to making plays at the level of speed that you're used to. So, a lot of these guys, right? I'm a 17, 18-year-old kid, and these guys on my team, they're 21, right? So there's 3 years older, right? You're usually playing against guys, your age, and
yeah.
some of the guys on the other team, they're 21, they're big, they got big beards, right? It's all
It's
pretty
scary.
crazy, but yeah, definitely. But the speed for sure. I think that's the hardest thing most people have an adjustment period to. Port Huron right now at the Prowlers, it's college hockey season's ending, right? So we've been signing a lot of free agents, and I think that's what most of the guys all say, that's the mutual agreement amongst most people when they make that jump, is the speed and the level of play, right? It's
Yeah.
you're used to playing, 4 years or of juniors, or 4 years of college, or 3 years of AAA, all against kids your age, right? And then every level you take up, the guys are older, they're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster. So definitely the speed for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, what do you do to help like adjust that speed to the level of the game? Is it just about like getting that game experience to finally get your legs under you, or do you just like work on like footwork in practice? Like what's some of the biggest points that you take to work on that speed?
Yeah, I think everybody has a different approach. I think naturally gifted and good players, their adjustment period would probably be shorter. I think that they could pick up on the game and the speed
Yeah.
for pretty quickly overall. When I was like 20-ish, 21, I was talking to some people that are playing at the higher levels. I always had an interest in it and thought I had the ability to do it. And the more common feedback I would get was speed and footwork. So um, I took a couple summers. I trained at Puck Masters and Wixom with an old college coach of mine, and it was 2 3 times a week, footwork drills, speed drills, right? And then on top of that, I'm in the gym. You're doing a lot of band work, a lot of squats, right? Trying to get that explosiveness going. So um, for me, that was the approach I took.
Yeah, and that's a good approach, especially like when you have like a set like program like that. You're just able to
Yeah.
like the consistency of it. You're just able to get into what you're gonna do that week, and it's gonna help build that foundation of speed and footwork.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Gary Ulrich at 2SP. He was my program mentor. He was great trainer, works with athletes, works with a lot of the wings. So, I trusted him, knew what he was doing. He definitely got me bigger and stronger for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you talked about earlier, you talked about how you were an eighth defenseman at the time of your first camp in the Goj. So like what would be some advice for like players that are in that situation where they're seventh, eighth defender getting healthy or like not or like having like a shift or two a game? Like what's some advice that you'd give them to help like get that confidence in them and help them like help them get into the lineup?
Yeah. I'm sure you've heard it before. Right. You can always control your attitude and effort, right?
Yeah.
I don't think anybody, as far as teammates, coaching, staff, nobody likes when a person has a terrible negative attitude. So, I think you keep positive, right? Going to being a good teammate goes a absolute long way. Um, supporting the guy to left and right of you, right? That's what it's all about, right? The
Yeah.
team working towards a common goal. Obviously it can be tough, right? I had to do it at the professional level too. Even in Elmira, some games I'd play 20, 25 minutes. And then the very next game I was playing 3 shifts, right? So
Yeah.
it can definitely be hard on you mentally, right? At any level, you want to be out there, right? And so I think being a good teammate, right? um when you do get those shifts, when you get that 1 2 3 shifts, right, it's tough when you're sitting there and you're cold and whatnot, but you got to go out there and you got to try to make something happen. Controlling your attitude and effort, right, especially in practice, that's where you're going to earn your time, right? You're going to have to beat out the other guys on your team, compete hard, right?
Yeah.
Work on your stuff. I think being the first guy on the ice, last guy off the ice, right? I think stuff like that goes a long way. I think honest, true coaches pay attention to things like that. So that would be my advice for somebody in that situation.
Yeah, that's some great advice, especially like going back to like the consistency part. Like you just do that and they have like a consistent plan, even if you're getting healthy or like seeing 1 to 2 shifts a game, like you're at least
Yeah.
doing something that's like a consistent routine that's gonna get you into that mindset where you're just gonna go into practice and treat that like a game, and hopefully your coach is gonna notice like you make a good play or two and hopefully get you in the lineup soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And the sports world is a strange thing, right?
Yeah.
A guy can get injured, right? He could get traded, whatever. He could leave for family emergencies, he get a big fight with the coach, doesn't matter, right? Your opportunity could present itself like that, right? So you always want to be like you said, you want to be mentally prepared and ready to go, right? A guy, like I said, a guy can get hurt mid game. You're seventh, eighth D, maybe you're playing 1 or 2 shifts, right? Now it's down to 6D, right? And you're getting a
Yeah.
regular shift, a regular rotation. That's your opportunity to prove something. So again, I don't think any of those things that I stated, anybody would overlook. I think they go a long way. So
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So then you go into the next year you play your second year in the Goj, and then you get an opportunity to go to college the following year at Oakland University for ACHA. So like, what was the process like to get in to commit to Oakland University?
So I had my second year. I had about maybe seven, 6 or 7 Division III schools looking at me. Um, okay, I don't even think I can name them all. Johnson, Wales, UMass Boston, Elmira, Aurora, and I don't even know the other ones. I can't even remember, but I remember we narrowed it down to Johnson and Wales at the time. I wanted to be a finance major, and they're an international, private business school. And I remember looking at my phone the night before. I think it was me and my mom. We were supposed to fly out there, and I remember just looking at my phone, going, "Jesus Christ! Like, am I really gonna play? 17, 18 hours away, right? Go to school, because this is coming from a kid. I was home my entire life,
Yeah,
right? So I was actually going to quit hockey. I was going to be done. And my dad was doing some research, and I remember he told me he sent me a link to a recruiting form for Oakland, and he's like, "Why do you fill it out?" I'm like, I don't know, because again, I didn't really know. I didn't know if NCAA D3 was good. I didn't know if ACHA D1 was good. I didn't
yeah.
know how any of the stuff worked, right? We just didn't know anything about hockey.
Go with the flow of it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I was like, okay, whatever, can't hurt, right? So I fill out this form, I submit it online, and probably 3 minutes after submitting it, I get a call on my phone from the head coach, right? Um, so, he's giving me the whole spiel, and, we'd love to have you out. We got a team skate tomorrow and blah, blah, blah. And why don't you come down? And I'm like, all right, whatever, can't hurt, right? So I go down and skate like 6, 7 of guys. This is maybe in like August of 2016, maybe. And school's starting in about a month. And I remember at the time the captain and another guy, they took me out to lunch, paid for it, and show me around campus, right? Ask me, what I would think about going in, business or engineering or whatever. And they're showing me, where my classes would be for, depending on what major, showing me the gym.
Yeah,
And, and all I'm thinking in my head is, what, I kind of like this, right? It's close to home, right? Everything's right here on campus. It's not like Michigan State or something where you got one class here and then your other class 35 minutes
yeah.
away, right? And, so I went home. I had a long talk with my parents and said, "This is what I want to do." And called the coach back. I signed a letter of intent, and the rest is history. So
Yeah, so that's a crazy story, especially since
yeah,
you're gonna be done with hockey and then you found your love for the game
yeah.
again going into Oakland University. So like what was that first year of first year of college hockey like?
Again, another big a big jump speed
Yeah,
wise, right? And definitely a big jump in the age difference, right? Juniors, if you're good enough to be a 16-year-old playing juniors, right, you're gonna have guys 5 years older than you.
yeah,
But typically, as a freshman, whether you're a true freshman or coming straight out of juniors, your teammates are gonna be way older than you, right? So to have guys on my team that were 25, 26 years old, right, about to graduate, they got their careers going, it was pretty crazy. It was definitely a mental difference, right? I'm in my head, I'm still a kid, and these guys are grown men, right?
yeah,
And um, but as far as like the culture and the seriousness of it, right? The college hockey, it's all about the team, and they have their rituals and learning the fight song, and being a part of the school and going to school events, right? That's not something typically you're doing too much as juniors, and juniors, and um, as far as like the external stuff, that was a big adjustment for me. But internally on the ice, again, huge jump in the game. I remember the first game thinking, holy shit, like this is crazy, right?
yeah.
This is so fast paced. These guys are huge out here flying around. So, that was just another wake up call, right? That told me, after this season, gotta get in the gym even more and get better at hockey. So
Yeah, and like college hockey is like a whole nother breed in the world of hockey. Like especially college, like it brings schools together, especially when you get the fan sections going as well. It's like
Yeah.
how are the crowds in the fan sections then when you would play?
They would be pretty good, especially we used to have a rivalry with Rochester College, another close small Christian school near us, and we play a best of five series for the jug of Rochester Hills, and their student sections would come, and we had a decent amount of people, and play at the Onyx, right? It's not too hard to pack, so our
Yeah.
crowds would be pretty good. But some of the bigger schools we played at, like Liberty University, Ohio, these guys are getting 3, 4, 5,000 people a game. So those are always pretty crazy games for sure, right? And like you said, it's not like juniors where some local people from the town are coming. I mean, these kids, they got their chest painted, they're banging on the glass, blowing horns, right? It's fucking mayhem. So definitely that was an adjustment for sure too.
Where were you ever a target of the fan sections?
Oh, always, man. I mean, my last name's Mini, right? So you can imagine I've heard the term mini dick a lot in my life.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All like those are some of the best like fan like just they literally just come up with anything that they
Oh
possibly
yeah.
can. They'll stalk your Instagram, stalk your Twitter,
Yeah.
they'll stalk
I
like your family's page, everything.
I remember when we played in Liberty, my assistant captain Ryan Rotundi, they right behind the glass on us, they had about 15 pictures blown up of his girlfriend, man. And again, I'm just sitting there, right? I'm a 20, 21-year-old kid thinking, holy shit. I mean, this is like something out of a movie. So
It's the
yeah,
jungle.
yeah, exactly. The jungle. Perfect way to describe it.
Yeah, but like those makes for some of the best memories and best like moments when you think back to college hockey throughout like all the different memories throughout the sport that you played and as well as like the fans chirping you all the time.
Oh yeah, that's it's part of the game.
Yeah.
They make it fun. I had gone on a podcast earlier this year, and they asked me the same question. It was one of the people who runs it's a fan of the Columbus team in our league, right? They get a good crowd and they're pretty rowdy. And she was asking me about that, and I said, it never bothered me, right? I think it's all
Mm-mm.
good fun. I think it's important for the fans to get the whole experience, right? And get a full interaction with the game. But yeah, I definitely miss it a little bit. My youngest brother, he's playing at Oakland now, and gone to a couple of games, and a little nostalgic, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely fun times for sure.
Yeah, especially yeah, and like the fans chirping you, like it does not bother. I don't think it bothers anyone. It all makes us just laugh. Like I remember
Yeah, exactly.
last week the game, we played Muskie and wasn't going our way, and I was getting chirped. I just winked at the fans. Like doesn't bother me at all. Like say whatever you want, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's like I said, it's all in fun. I don't think they mean anything personable by it, right?
Oh
So
yeah. Yeah, so your third year at Oakland University, you were named assistant captain. So like what was it about taking on that leadership role that really helped you grow as not only like as a person or not only as an athlete, but also a person?
um yeah, to be voted on by your peers, right? We would do a team vote. The coaches would vote us
Yeah,
also, and they would always say that they would be pretty close, right, in votes anyway. So again, to be voted on by guys my age or guys younger than me that are looking at me for that role, is pretty special. So that helped me mature in ways, to think that I'm gonna take, these 20 guys, right, along with the other captains, and try to lead them to a national championship,
yeah,
and on top of it, showing them the ropes, right, showing them the rituals, the routines, right, the history of the team and whatnot, and passing all that information along down to them, right, so they can pass it to the next recruiting class coming in, and so on and so forth. So um, yeah, it was pretty special. I think I started taking, hockey a little more serious at that point, and you almost feel like you almost feel like responsible for the guys, right? You
Yeah.
know, you want the best for them, and you know, you want to try to get them to that point, and whatever way you see fit. So um you know, that was a special moment for me for sure. You know, I never wore a letter before in juniors or AAA, so you know, I guess it just showed my own maturity throughout my career. So yeah, definitely something special.
Yeah, and you're like setting the foundation for everyone else, for like everyone that's looking up to you, the new class coming in, and like it's just gonna like it's a carry on tradition through like what you and the other captains set, and hopefully it just goes on and on throughout the next couple of years. The class is coming in, so it's just I could only imagine that it's just awesome to see just from where it started when you were a freshman to where you were at in your third year and your junior year, getting that assistant captain, just to see where the program has gone from then on out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, funny story, actually, I got the letter when I was a sophomore. I don't know why on my EP it only says I wore it when I was a junior, but I was voted on as a sophomore. I was the youngest player to wear a letter, and you know, youngest, not player, but age bracket. And um you know, and at that time, a sophomore had never worn, you know, lower level class had never worn a letter, so that was pretty special. But you know, I wore it my junior year also, so
Yeah.
2 years of leadership, right? So
Yeah, never trust what elite prospect says.
yeah,
That's a learning experience from today.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but
Uh,
like, what was it like to see the team grow from your freshman year into the time that you left?
yeah, I think you know, my freshman year we were a good hockey team. We just you know, everybody was good that year. We had our conference was super solid. You know, I think out of the 7 or 9 teams that were in our conference, 75% of them were in the top 15 in the country, right, at the time. So,
Wow.
you know, we were a good team, but we just didn't win much. And then, you know, my second year, we had a really good recruiting class. We started to find ourselves ranked, you know, from 16th to 25th, you know, in that frame. And, you know, when you're in the top 16, you get to go to nationals and in the ACHA. So, we unfortunately fell off, and same for the second year, right? We are always right there, and we would fall off at the end, and you know, finish, you know, 20th instead of 16th,
Yeah.
right? And you know, it was still special. I always wanted to, you know, get my chance to go to nationals, but unfortunately I didn't. And you know, Oakland's in recent years they've been struggling a little bit, so hopefully hopefully they can turn that program around and get her back on track, you know, the glory days, right? The
Oh yeah.
early 2010s when Oakland was, you know, always in the tournament, right? Winning consistently. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. You gotta relive the good old glory days whenever you can. That's a must.
absolutely.
Yeah, but like, what do you learn from situations like that when you guys are ranked 16 and then you get bumped to 20, 25, 26, like you said, and just miss the tournament by like five plus teams?
Yeah. You know, the learning, right? The learning experience there is going back to what I said earlier about consistency, right? I
Yeah,
think again, it's the hardest thing to do in sports is as an individual and as a team, right? Even from my own experience with Port Huron, right? We put a beat down on a team, you know, 7-1, 7-2 Friday night, right? And then we lose 5-2 Saturday, right? We've shown the ability that we can absolutely dominate them, right? And beat them. And we just couldn't put it together the next night, right? So I think again that experience is you know, the takeaway from that is having your head in the right place, right? Being mentally prepared, mentally focused, right? And thinking just because things happen now or things are going good now, right? Doesn't mean it's always going to be that way. You still got to show up every day and compete and be consistent and have that edge, right? I mean,
yeah,
you know, March Madness tournaments coming up, right? You know, there's major upsets in that all the time, and I'm sure teams think the same thing, right? Oh, we're, you know, number 2 seed, number 1 seed, we're going to steamroll this team, right? But it goes to show that anybody can beat anybody on any given day, man. So it's about consistency. It's about showing up. It's about your drive, your compete level, all those things wrapped together. And with a plan of action from your coaching staff, and you got to follow through and execute. There's nothing else to it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like I remember during March Madness, I believe it was either like 2 or 3 years ago, whatever it was. I think like a 16 seed made it to Elite Eight, Final Four, or something like that, and they
Yeah,
just kept
yeah,
upsetting and just getting hot at the right time. Like that's all it is at like during playoff times, getting hot at the right time and then being consistent,
exactly.
like you said.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's been shown before. I mean, Columbus Blue Jackets, when Tampa set the best record for the
Yeah.
NHL season, right? And they get bounced first round 4-0 by a eighth seed, and anybody can beat anybody. You got to show up.
Anything can happen.
Exactly.
Yeah, but then your third year was the product. You had the most productive points throughout your 3 years there. It's like what made you successful that third year to like what is it all about, that consistency like we've been talking about?
Yeah, I think my coach at the time, Colin Ronier, he was the guy I was working with at Puck Masters that summer from sophomore to junior summer the junior season, sorry, and doing a lot of footwork with him, a lot of edge work, and I was also hitting the gym hard. That's when I took my biggest leap in weight as well. I think I went from like 198 to about like 212, 215, right? So I got very big, very strong there, and footwork got better. And my dad would always say that you got to show up and have the mindset that I'm
Yeah.
I'm the baddest motherfucker here, right? Nobody's better than me, and I think it's hard to put that mental part together of the game too, right? It's tough for anybody. So Mario Lemieux, one of the greatest players ever, he has a book called Hockey Mentally Tough, right? For those who haven't read it, it's a great book, but um it shows, again, that consistency. You have that ability to be great, right? But it's putting it together all the time out there. So I think being an older guy, and I was 24 at the time, and I just had the mindset that, I'm the biggest here, I'm the baddest, right? I can dance around all these guys, nobody can stop me. So I had a breakout season, like you said, a career high in points, and I got second team all league for defenseman in the GLCHL, and I was the only one on my team, and that was special, to get that on a losing team, right? We didn't make playoffs that
Yeah.
year, unfortunately, and we finished about 500. But I tried to compete and show up every single game, and definitely a big leap in points, but I would attribute it to all those things. So
Yeah, if you put your mind to something that you believe that you're the best, you're the strongest, whatever it is, like your mind has tons of different ways to put that into action, and just to be able to produce like that, like just having that mindset's incredible.
yeah, absolutely. It's tough. It took me a long time. I'd say I could have had a lot better career than I did. If I could have had the mental aspect that I had now, right? I was
Yeah,
told no a lot and got cut a lot, and I always thought that I wasn't good enough when the whole time I actually was, right? And when I finally realized that, I started getting the opportunities, right? It was a little too late, right? Most guys my
yeah,
age were now way ahead of me, and I was playing catch up, right? So now I had to grind it out and really work hard to get the opportunities that I had. And when I wasn't a draft pick, or I wasn't this or whatever, right? I didn't have those things because I blew them when I was younger. So
yeah. The mindset's definitely a huge part in hockey and any sport really. Like if like that's where you can make the biggest leaps, is just if you believe in yourself to like you're the best or to the fullest of your ability, and just know that you're putting in the work. Like you see
yep.
those bounds happen all the time, and it's just like out of nowhere too.
Yeah, absolutely. The self part is what's big, man. It's all on you at the end of the day,
Oh
right?
yeah,
You can
self
have
self confidence, everything.
no, you can have people guide you, or put you in the right direction, put you on the runway, right? But it's it's your job to take off, right? There's no one else that's gonna do it but you. So
Exactly. So then after your college career comes to a close, you go on to the Federal Prospects Hockey League with the Battle Creek Rumblebees and the Elmira Enforcers your first year. So like what was it like signing in Battle Creek, especially since it's a local team for you as well?
yeah, again going back, I went down on a wing. Got an email from my old AAA coach about attending this free agent camp, right? And for Huntsville, and go down there, right? Like I said, I always had an interest in playing pro and thought I had the ability to at
Yeah.
least play, single or double A pro. And so I go down there and, there's, 150 kids, there's, like 14 defensemen on each team, right? And I had a good showing, and they pull me out of the locker room, and out of everybody there, they're taking me and another kid to training camp. So I remember I had a long talk with my parents. We didn't know what to do. We talked to a lot of people and that have been in that situation and get advice. And it was a tough choice to leave my team my senior year. Right, we had a
Yeah.
good team at the time and could have had a shot at nationals, but I didn't think this opportunity would come again. So went down to Huntsville. Played a couple preseason games. Had some. I think I had 2 3 points in 2 games, and thought I did good, but right, they it's cutthroat business, right? That
Yeah.
same day, a guy from the ACHL got released and sent down, and so I was packing my bags at the same time, and Huntsville told me to go to Columbus, right, and in Georgia, and they're fairly close. And again, this is I didn't know anything about this league, right? I knew Port Huron had a team, but
Yeah.
I didn't know if the hockey was good. I didn't know anything about the fan situation, living. I didn't know a single thing. So I go down to Columbus. They trade me to Battle Creek, and so I went home, and I remember I took like a week and a half break. I was just kind of golfing, hanging out because I was like, man, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Just
in
emptying the
my
mind a little bit.
yeah, in my head, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I made a huge mistake. I should have
Yeah.
stayed with my college team, right? And kind of doubting myself. And again, my old man, I attribute a lot to him. He's always been in my corner, always big supporter, and he pushed me in the right direction. And I'd say my career, for him to tell me to go there and just check it out. So went to Battle Creek, like you said, pretty local, about an hour and a half from home. So I go there, and it was bad, right? The entire team set up, um not to knock on the people involved, but it was just bad. The players, the rink, the locker room situation, the living situation, right? Everything was bad. We were getting killed every game, and it was a team where I was getting, 25, 30 minutes, right, as a rookie.
Yeah.
So I, knowing what I knew from college and juniors and all those experiences, right, I told myself that if I could just, right, work hard, keep my nose to the grindstone, right, we weren't going to win any games, right. So if I could just play good in front of good teams, that I would get picked up by somebody. And, sure enough, shortly in the season, I think I played maybe 12, 15 games. I'm not sure on there, whatever it says, but I got a call from my GM. I drove up to the rink, went in his office, and he told me that Carolina Thunderbirds and Elmira Enforcers have trade offers for you. And at the time, they were, the two top teams, right? So
Yeah.
I'm like,
You're
man,
pumped. Yes, sir.
I'm
Let's
like
go.
perfect. I'm like, this is what I told myself. This is what I worked for, right? I knew this would happen, um, and I said, yeah, send me to either one, right? So he was kind of communicating, going back and forth with my agent and the teams, trying to, work out the best deal for
Yeah.
themselves, right? So he calls me back in, and he says, you're getting traded to Elmira. And, again, I'm super pumped, right? At the time, Elmira was averaging, the highest attendance in the league, and good team, right? Good organization from top to bottom. So going from the worst to the best, it was definitely a good feeling. And I remember saying to him, because I was curious, I said, what did you trade me for? And they traded me for a guy named Nathan Pelagro, who was a good player, right? Consistent, SPHL player. And every time Battle Creek was going to go to Elmira for the season, Elmira was going to pay for the hotels, right? So
Future
I was
considerations.
exactly future considerations. So I was a little geeked about that, right? I'm feeling good about myself, thinking, wow, I got some pretty decent value, right? They got a good player
Oh
and some
yeah.
hotels for me. So um, I remember we were actually playing Battle Creek. That this was probably like on a Wednesday maybe, and we were playing Battle Creek sorry, Elmira was playing Battle Creek in Battle Creek. So um they got there like midday Thursday and I just, kind of said bye to my buddies and packed up my stuff out of the apartment and I met Elmira at the hotel and then played Friday, Saturday with them and I believe that was like right before Christmas. I think maybe December 23rd, something like that. And um drove my car home, said bye to my family and then hopped back in the car and drove to Elmira and we had a game I think the day after Christmas. So yeah, and rest is
Quick
history.
turnaround.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy how fast it can happen.
Yeah,
So
that's crazy, but I'm sure it was a great experience going to Elmira, especially like how your pro career started, and then going into a top team in the league. Like, must have been a great experience. And then you go into the same team the second year you played for Elmira for the full season the next year,
yeah.
before going to Danbury and Port Huron last year. It's like, what was it like staying in Elmira for that whole 2020-21 season, especially since it was a odd season?
Yeah, the COVID year,
Yeah,
we always talk about that. It was about as interesting as it came, man. I remember we had we were originally going to play, and this was going on for forever, right? Because,
yeah,
at the time, nobody knew a lot about COVID, all kinds of new restrictions, everything was coming out
yeah,
every day, right? So, my team kept saying, we're going to have training camp this day, right? And they would just push it back further and further, all the way from November to, like mid January.
yeah,
So finally, there's a season set where we were going to play a 21 game season against Watertown Wolves, who was another team in New York, right? I'm
yeah,
thinking, Jesus Christ, we're going to play the same fucking team 21 times. What is this? So fast forward to game one of that series. We're checking in at, doing the temperature check and all that stuff, right? All that weird stuff
yeah.
people used to
Uh-huh.
do. And, there was some bad blood between the teams that boiled over from preseason. And, long story short, we ended up getting in a brawl in the hallway prior to the game. So, you know, we 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 thought that Watertown didn't deserve to play with us, so we packed our gear, we went home, lost by forfeiture, season got canceled. So we're just kind of hanging around Elmira for about a week and a half, and doing nothing. Right, we weren't even practicing. We didn't know what the hell's going on, and then finally we had a call from our GM, and we had a team meeting, and we all go in there, and he comes in, he slams a schedule on the wall, and he's like, we're playing a season, boys, and it was us, Port Huron, Columbus, and Carolina, and we played a 25 game season for the Ignite Cup, and I always say, I mean, some of the guys on Port Huron now that played in the league at that time too, we always joke because, we always say that that is the best the Federal Hockey League will ever be. Um, for the simple reason that it's almost like each league got bumped down, right? So at
Yeah,
the time, the East Coast Hockey League only half the teams were playing, right? Um, the SP only half the teams were playing, right? And then the Fed only four teams were playing. So there's a lot of good hockey players looking for a job.
yeah.
And
Oh yeah,
our team, Elmira, I mean, we were a powerhouse. We were a combination of, all the best Fed players from Elmira and Danbury on top of SPHL and East Coast players, and vice versa for every other team. We always joke around, like me, Johnny, and Graham on Port Huron. We joke around with the fact that Port Huron during that season was the worst team out of the four. And we always joke that if you put that exact same team in the Fed right now, they'd be the first place team by a long shot. So yeah, we were able to put a good season together. We had a championship run. Unfortunately, we got smoked in playoffs, best of 5 series. We lost game 3, got swept. And yeah, I was gonna retire after that. I didn't even touch my gear for 7, 8 months. And there was an expansion draft because, so there's some behind the scenes stuff going on with
Yeah.
Elmira. And I the team ended up folding at the time. And so, I had buddies from Danbury calling me nonstop, right? You got to come play, right? Guys like Johnny Ruiz, Carter Shinkarik, Dylan Kelly. And I'm thinking, I'm like, you guys can pick me up and have my rights, but I'm not going all the way out to Connecticut. So they draft me in the expansion draft. They own my rights, right? And, again, I don't care because at the time I was retired, I was going to be done playing. And I think that season last year, come, about November, Danbury's playing in Port Huron, and they're short like 2 defensemen, right? They only had like 4 at the time. So
Yeah.
my buddies are calling me nonstop, right? I'm talking to my parents, what do you think? And they're like, why don't you do it, right? They're all geeked up because they love watching. And they were pissed that I wanted to be done. And so I was like, fuck it, what I'll do it, even though I hadn't skated for anything. So I remember that was on a Tuesday that I decided. So I went full gear with my high school team Wednesday and Thursday to kind of mentally prepare for it. And then I met Danbury at the rink. I played 2 games with them. They gave me a decent amount of money, and then on top of that, they sent me a lot of money in the mail to try to incentivize me to go play there. But I was a full-time student. I just
Yeah.
couldn't make it work. So fast forward from there, they eventually waived my rights to make room for the roster, and I bounced around pretty much every team. I got a call from Columbus, call from Carolina, right? Team after team picking up my rights, telling them the same things. I got calls from Roanoke and in the SPHL, Macon, um, Vermilion County. They're not even a team anymore, and Peoria and Evansville. I mean, and I'm there in Fayetteville too. And I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, every time I'm turning down these calls, I'm going, man, where were you guys? This whole time I'm working my ass off, trying to get to the league. Now I don't even want to play anymore, and everybody's calling me, right? So go figure. So come around Christmas time, my buddy Austin Federley, he had shot me a text. We had played my first year in the Gouge together, so I known Austin a long time. And he shot me a text and said what I think about, coming to play for Port. And, I'm thinking, how bad can it be, right? Close to
Yeah.
home. And, I'm only, at the time I was only practicing once, twice a day. And,
Yeah.
and, yeah, I practiced a week there. First game was a home game on December 26th against Carolina. And, and that kind of re-sparked my love for it. So, um, I thought that if I do this, I didn't play many games that year, and I told myself I was going to play more of a full season the next year as my last hurrah, because Port Huron, I owe Johnny and Graham a lot. I think they definitely made me refine my love for the game for sure, and it's a lot of fun there. So that's the pretty wild ride I took the last 2-3 seasons.
Yeah, that's crazy, but I'm glad that you're back in Port Huron, close to your home, and playing your last year of pro hockey where you want to play.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, but like, what's been like some of the most some of your favorite memories so far from this season and last season with Port Huron?
Um, I'd say last season, playoffs, right? Port Huron was able to make playoffs last year, and even though we got fourth or first rounded, 4-3 overtime loss and a 4-3 overtime loss, right? Because you only play best of 3 series.
Yeah.
Um, so they can go by quick, right? You can win a championship in 6 games, right? But that's always special when like we talked about earlier, anybody can beat anybody. So it's always special when you get that shot at a championship. And as far as this season, there's been a lot of laughs, a lot of good pranks. I've been enjoying. Last year I didn't go on the road very much, actually at all. I only did for playoffs because I had prior commitments to school and whatnot.
Yeah.
But this year I kind of set my schedule up where I had night classes and all that bullshit, and um, so I've been going on the road a lot more. So I would say that's my best experiences so far. It's soaking in the last couple road trips. You get a big win on the road, and you're having beers on the bus and the music's blaring and whatnot. So I'm enjoying that, right now, and soaking it all in because I know I'm not going to get that anywhere else for
Yeah.
the rest of my life. So in the locker room for sure, that's it's always fun to just go in every morning and sit down to your best buddies and just shoot the shit and grill into each other, and that's the good experiences that I'm having so far. So
Oh yeah, those are the best memories to make is when like just the road trips, just being with the boys, and then you're playing the game you love for a living, and like there's nothing better than that.
yeah, absolutely, man. I can't complain about my life at all, not one
Yeah.
bit.
And you're living at home, 35
Yeah,
minutes away. So like what's
exactly.
it been like to play with Port Huron and like have friends and family be able to see you play for your last year?
Yeah, I think people close to me have been making their rounds, family, friends, aunts, uncles are kind of, coming out, two, three, 4 games, seeing their nephew or grandson or best
Yeah.
buddy or whatever, right? Play one last time. My parents, they, God bless them. They've given me the ability to play the sport I love, and for this long, and they've always been supporters. So they sit in the same 2 seats every game at Port Huron, and I leave them 2 tickets. So it's pretty special for them to like I said earlier, watch their oldest play one last season, and I'm sure the tears will be flowing on both ends at
Yeah.
that last game when it finally sets in. Right, it hasn't really set in yet, but it's been special for sure. I'm glad I can finish out my career and at home, like you said.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome. That's unreal. Just especially since it's your last year, like not go out with a bang just like that, and you'd be happy.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. I got one last shot at it. I hope we can put it together.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I have one more question before we wrap things up here. So, what's like your pregame routine before games?
Before games, so if we were to play a home game, typically Friday, we would morning skate. So I get up around 6 a.m. I'm a big breakfast guy. Contrary to popular belief, right? Breakfast is the most important meal of
Yeah.
the day.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people think it's what you eat before a game. It's actually what you eat that morning, right? So I have me and my brother on a strict regimen diet. We have our 6 eggs, protein yogurt, banana, right? And I kind of let that digest for a sec. I go up to the rink. um, we have a Black Rock sauna in our locker room, so I'll sit in the sauna for 20, 30 minutes, get a good sweat in, right? Get in the shower, rinse off, and start getting ready for morning skate. And we skate, real light, 25, 30 minutes, get your legs moving, snap around some passes, take a couple shots, and then I will go to tropical smoothie after that, and that's my one of my favorite pre-game meals. I get the same thing. I get a smoothie and a wrap, and I'll take that home. I'll eat that, and then I'm a big napper, so I'll take a nap around 1, 2 o'clock for about an hour or two, and get up at 4 through 3:30, 4 o'clock, shower. My mom always makes her pasta with red sauce for me, so another perk of living from home, and I'll mile that down, and then I put my suit on and head out to the rink. And we have team meetings, right, and individual meetings throughout the time frame
Yeah.
of leading up to warm-ups, and I'll do those with need be. But then I go play sewer a little bit with the guys, right, kick the soccer ball around a bit, and then I do my own individual warm-up routine and go back and have a chew with a couple of the boys, and throw in throw on my gear and, get mentally prepared for warm-ups, and, that's that, man. That's my pregame routine. Not a super superstitious guy as
Yeah,
much as other guys, but nothing really interesting about it. But
a great consistent routine though. That's all you need.
yeah, there you go, man. Exactly.
Yeah, but Gino, thank you again for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time, and I want to wish you the best of luck with the rest of the season. Hopefully you guys go out. Hopefully you go out with a bang with the championship coming up soon.
Oh, thanks, man, Jack. I appreciate you having me on, and yeah, obviously I hope to save too, man. That'd be something special for sure for last year.
Yeah,
But
that'd be unreal.
yeah. All right, man. I appreciate it.